Isang mapagpalang araw sa iyo kapatid, samahan mo ko sa isang refleksyon, isang talakayan patungkol sa Ebanghelyo ng ating Panginoong Jesucristo ayon sa sulat ni San Juan. In chapter 9, verse 1 through verse 41, napakahabang text ito, our gospel lesson this Sunday, no? The first Sunday in Lent. Yung pagpapagaling ng ating Panginoong Jesus sa taong bulag, ipinanganak na bulag, no? It's actually a confession of, this is entitled, our reflection is entitled, I was blind and now I see. That's actually the confession of the man born blind in verse 25. Sabi niya, I do not know if he is a sinner or not. The man replied, one thing I do know, I was blind and now I see. Kung nati Ilocano, diya ka mo no, managbasol mo no saan, insong ba't tinapaimbag, dahi titi amok, bulse kak iding ng ita, makakita akon. I was blind but now I see. Born blind or develop blindness due to many factors is neither caused by his or her sin nor by the sins committed by his or her parents. Right? Although the idea is quite accepted for the Israelite community, which gradually developed the idea that physical infirmity is caused by the person's sin or his parents' sin. However, Jesus was so adamant about the principle of generational curse. Saan nga umandatop, wenno, sa nakanunungan niya po tayo ng Jesucristo, dayjay natawid nga, tawidan nga panakailunod, or the generational curse, because of either his sin or the sin of his parents. Right? Iso nga haanmat nga manamong saan nga gapok tibasol na, saan mat nga gapo itibasol dagiti nagandak na. He was so resolute that Jesus dissented against the idea of inherited sin. And so what did Jesus teach his disciples? Ano ko na niya po tayong Jesucristo? In verse 3, his blindness has nothing to do with his sins or his parents' sins. He is blind so that God's power might be seen at work in him. And so Jesus was convinced that neither the man's sins nor his parents' sin have caused his blindness. Thus, physical infirmity has nothing to do with sin. Right? Awan pa kainaigan na, awan pa kairelasyon na, tibasol ti may isang tao, kanti agda mga estado, tinaphysicalan abagi, unubiyag iti may isang tao. Sins and physical infirmities are two categories of human experience. Nararanasan yan. Makapag-commit, tibasol ti may isang tao, and at the same time, badati tiyempo nga agkapsod dagiti na physikalan abagi, and including that of physical infirmity, right? Afflicted to a man or a woman. Padasan nga kapsot una dati sakit nga mapaitibiyag ti may isang tao. Since people inherit the nature or inclination of men to do sin, to link infirmity as a consequence of sin is unwarranted. Kaya nga sabi ng ating Panginoong Jesus, awan ti pakainaigan ti basol na, awan pakainaigan ti basol, dagiti naganak ken kuana. This rings true on Jesus' own view regarding the reality of human experience relative to sin and human infirmity or physical infirmity. These are human experiences according to Jesus that God's power might be seen at work in Him. Napasamak na ito'y tapno makita ti panagtignay ti Diyos. Itibiyag da ito'y atao. Wenno panagtignay ti Diyos itibiyag ti tao. Both sin and physical infirmity need the divine touch of the Supreme Being, whose presence resides beyond the celestial canopy above and transcends within human societies where the need of healing and restoration remain an essential condition for the benefit of those who are categorically deprived from their equal share in the community. Right? Essential condition for the benefit of those who are categorically deprived from their equal share in the community. Those who are vulnerable, those who are outcasts, and those who remain isolated from the community of the holy and the righteous. The restoration of this man born blind and reconnection of this man born blind to his community, to the society where he belongs, where he actually belongs. To the society where he was then isolated because of physical infirmity. That is associated to either his sin or his parents' sins. Ngunit ipinagkaloob ng ating Panginoon ang kagalingan. Kat nagpaiduma ti panangagas ni Apo Jesus timo praisuna, in gamay na tito prana iti tapok, in yapros na iti mata daytoy nga bulsak, kat imimbag day ti abulsak. And what does that mean? The dust of the earth, the dirty portion that is seldomly touched and remains to be off the hands of the clean, as represented by the religious leaders and teachers of the law, the Pharisees who questioned the movement of the divine who brought healing to the man on the day prohibited by the Sabbath law, becomes an essential element for healing and restoration. The dirt becomes an essential element for healing and restoration. The unclean becomes an essential element for healing and restoration, especially to this man born blind, right? Out of the dust of the earth, the compassionate hands of the Supreme Being creates a movement that liberates those who are chained from the power of darkness in order to bring about light into the lives of those who are deprived from what the community has to offer for the common good. Impay niya po Diyos saan laang ay tipan nakakita ngampan nakaisubli ti association daytoy nga bulsek anay yadayo ken kuana ken na-deprive ken kuana kasmay sa akamang dayta nga sosyedad, kasmay sa akamang dayta nga komunidad. And so the most vulnerable, the sick and the isolated shall be reconnected again into the community where their potentials are of essential value. Mahalaga din sila or mahalaga sila. Meron din silang kakayanan na pwedeng i-contribute sa pamayanan. Kaya naipagkaloob sa kanya ang kagalingan, sa kanyang pisikal na pangangatawan, lalo tigit doon sa kanyang mata, naipanumbalik yung kanyang mata, yung kanyang pagtingin, tapno makakita daytoy kat maimatangan namat, kan mai-associate namat ti bagina iti may sama na komunidad. Right? Tapnon ti kabailan na may kan pateg kan makakontribute ti komunidad. And so that testimony, I was blind and now I see, is not just about physical healing, but it is about restoration or reconnection of the man born blind to the community that was for a long period of time deprived from him because of physical infirmity. And so it is not just about healing his physical infirmity, his physical condition, his blindness, but it's actually restoration and reconnection to his life in the community, a restoration of life into the community where his value and potentials are of essential value. Right? Pinapahalagahan ng buhay ang buhay ng bawat mamamayan upang maging ang iyong kalakasan, maging ang iyong potensyal ay may maitulong sa pamayanan at hindi lamang nagiging objects and subjects, recipients of concern and care, but you will also become an agent, a potential catalyst to extend a helping hand to those who are in need, to those who are vulnerable, to those who are isolated. Kagaya ng karanasan ti lalaki abulsek na ipasublikan kwa na ti panagkita kung saan la nga dayta ngam na ipasublikan kwa na ti relasyon na iti komunidad at nga itinabayag a panawen na ipaidam kan kwa na ang makipulapol kadagiti tao nga ibilbilang na akapamilya, kadagiti tao nga ibilbilang na akadaraan. And so the confession of this man, I was once blind, but now I see, is a reflection not only of healing, but that of restoration. Restoring his life in the community and his connection with the members of the community. Muli, isang mapagpalang araw sa iyo kapatid at pagpalain kanawan ng ating Panginoon.